So, 방금 시작했어요.
계속 기다렸어요?
예.
죄송해요.
아니요. 몰랐어요. So, this is a CallInliner Pass, which is required for scatter expander and also used in CPU and GPU together. What it does is like, as name implies, it tries to inline cooperate or function operation. If there's cooperation, which means it has a function and or actual computation, and it tries to inline actual computation. So the core mechanism is like, so there's a core graph. It's like which core operation calls which computation, and inside this computation, which core operation calls another computation. There's kind of graph, and you're going to visit all these core operation, and if it's allowed to inline, then we're going to inline. And when you inline, so parameter is like function parameter. Function parameter should be updated, right? And also the root instruction, which is return instruction, should be inlined correctly. And the user also need to be updated. That's kind of done in this class conceptually. Inline. So call function call is like call function, right? This function is inline as if there's no function. There's no function.
In general.
Yes. And there are some kind of some criteria, constraint, or some rule. For example, if there's a predecessor, so if some operation need to be done before this call operation, and this order should be strictly maintained. And also, if there's inside the calling, if there's a control dependency, all these should be maintained. And so yeah, what I try to say is like, so is there any dependence? Is there any order of the instruction? This should be maintained. Is this all about this? Otherwise, if you inline, if the order is not maintained, the result of the computation will give you incorrect. So this is what it says. And there's another property called single call site. If it is true, the call site, you can think of it as like the number of function calls. So if it is true, only the number of function call is 1, that is going to be inline only. Otherwise, if there's many function calls and if all of these are inline, then the call size will be bigger, which could be another problem. So this is the option for that. And there's some kind of criteria whether it is inlineable or not based on this condition. One is like there's no backend config parameter. So every instruction can have this. So this backend means like backend configuration for TPU or GPU or something like that. If it's that, there could be like side effect or something like that. So maybe if you inline, then it might break some certain assumption. So it doesn't try to inline. Also, in the function, there's no asynchronous operation. And if you have a ZK stream annotation, so at the instruction level, and if some certain option is on, I also prepare example of this, so we're going to visit later. So if you have this annotation, if some certain option is on, it's not going to be aligned. And also, if you turn this option on, and if the function call is composite call, then it's going to be not inline too, kind of. Also, some metadata and attribute also going to be propagated or cleaned. For example, if the call instruction has a master fuse or maximal fuse property, that is also propagated, that is maintained. But for composite property case, it's going to be cleaned after inline. This kind of certain rule, but yeah, I also prepare for some of examples. So we're going to see what happened if there's some certain option is on, if there's some property, what happened after inlining. We're going to see soon. And after car inlining, which means some certain function is never going to be used in some cases. In that case, the function will be removed. Yeah, yes, exactly, yeah. So this is about control dependency. For example, this one, in order to, before executing this one case, 0 should be executed first, right? Because it's control predecessors. And so we have this function call here, and this is going to be inline here, like this, but control predecessor will be preserved. And this is a while instruction, and this is a condition, and this is a body. Inside the body, we call this condition function call, and this is going to be inline like that. And it's about DC. So this empty, where's empty2? Anyway, so empty2가 뭐지? 오타 같다. So empty will be inline, and this will be this it. And all of them are just the function parameter call1, call2, call3, and all of them are referring to 0. So it only remains 0. Yep. And even if there's a side effect for instruction, it also can be inline. For example, in a DCE case, even if it doesn't have a user, it still remains, right? But after inlining, as a perspective of inlining, it's a candidate of the inlining. So even if the function body has a outfit instruction, it still be able to be inlined like that. And so if you run this CallInliner Pass with this property, that, for example, A case, it has a 2 call sites, and B case has only 1 call site. In this case, this is only the function that is going to be inline, and A will be remained. So A will be preserved and B will be inlined. And so as I mentioned earlier, so there's some attribute like ZKX3 annotation. And if you run this CallInliner Pass with this debug flag, with this flag, then it's not try to inline the function call of sub. So add is inline, sub will be preserved. So add is inline, sub will be preserved. And there's another option I didn't mention in the first, but every computation has some attribute called execution thread. So in that case, if you don't have any filter, every function will be inline. But if you apply filter that lets inline the computation that has a secondary thread, then only the secondary thread will be inline, and the function call with the main thread is not inline. And as I mentioned in the kind of propagation or cleanup, composite attributes will be cleaned up. So what in this context, what they mean by composite core, and composite core is like, so it's kind of set of function that is created some certain purpose, for example, convolution or custom some, I don't know. So some set of instruction is generated by some with a one big purpose. One could be convolution, and in our case, I think it's FFT, because FFT is FFT, and in JAX, it's kind of one function call, but inside there's a lot of photo or function call. In that case, every instruction will have this kind of attribute to mark for debugging purpose. If you see a visual graph of the instruction, if you just have a set of instruction, it will confuse or it will be hard to read, right? For example, like in learning, there are many layers, and in order to mark this set of stuff is for some certain layer, some set of operations for certain layer, you need to mark some annotation. And after lining, this is gone. So full bar will be gone after inlining. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. current lining, yeah.
이거 다 하면 진짜 빨라져요. 이게 패스 많잖아요. 이게 사실
일단 종료 무슨
네, 이게 진짜 다 빨라져요. 얘 하나가 진짜 큰 거예요, 진짜. 안 큰 것도 있어.
있을 것 같아요.
왜 다 만들어놨을까?
더
최적화하려고요?
최적화를 잘 하려고. 더 왜냐면 시멘틱을 자꾸 줄여줘야 돼요. 이 예를 들어서 이게 무슨 말이냐면 우리가 MLIR 쓰는 이유가 있어요. 이게 할 수 있는 레벨에서 추상화된 레벨에서 하지 않으면 어셈블리만 봐서 이 관계가 안 보여요. 그러니까 코드는 줄이고 싶잖아요. 그러니까 다 의미가 있어요. 코드가 줄어야지 코드에 캐시될 확률이 높을 거고, 그리고 룩 바디도 펑션 컬이 있으면은 자꾸 펑션 컬 하다 보면 코드 캐시 깨지잖아요. 근데 캐시에 다 돼야 돼. 근데 내가 DC를 하고 싶어. 근데 어셈블리로 봐서 DC를 하려면 힘들어요. 근데 지금 요 레벨에서 하면 왜 가능하냐면 하이 레벨로 표현해가지고 잘 보여요, 그런 게. 계속. 그리고 이게 무슨 말이냐면 우리가 그룹 아까 x 플러스 0은 x를 하고 싶잖아요. 어셈블리로 내려가면 이게 안 보여요. 그래서 자꾸 하이 레벨에서 이런 거를 해주면은 로우 레벨에서 잘하는 게 있고 하이 레벨에서 잘하는 게 있는데 하다 보면 좋은 거는.
그렇죠. 근데 되긴 되는데 이것의 임팩트가 만약에 크지 않다면은 그냥 사실 안 할 수도 있잖아요.
아, 그럴 수도 있죠. 맞아요.
왜냐면 또 얘기해서 자바에서 다빈 것이 다 해주니까 사실은 퍼포먼스 희생하더라도 큰 차이 안 나면은 그냥 하는 거잖아요. 노력에서 우리가 왜 관리해야 돼? 같이 이 실적 얼마나 이 테스트 의미가 있는지를 좀 모든
그거는 좋은 퀘스천인데 저도
케이스마다 다르지 않을까? 왜냐면 코드라고 하는 데는 그냥 랜덤한 인풋을 기대하고 있으니까 이 룰이 어떤 케이스에는 임팩트로 할 수도 있고.
근데 만약에 평균적으로 한 1%라고 하면 안 할 수도 있잖아요.
그럴 수도 있어요. 저는 근데 이게 코드 영향을 주는 패스는 아닐 수도 있을 것 같아요. 이거는 오히려 끝나고 나서 리더빌리티 이런 거에 오히려 또 영향을 줄 수도 있을 것 같고 깔끔하게 보일 것 같아요. 근데 이제 퍼포먼스에 중요한 영향을 끼치는 패스는 GPU에 되게 많이 있긴 해요. 그리고 제가 예전에 발표를 했는데 그건 뭐가 있냐면 이제 소프트웨어 파이프라인, 룹 언로딩, 그리고 타일링, 뭐 퓨전 이런 것들은 퍼포먼스 되게 크리티컬한 거긴 해요. 그거는. 그리고 벡터라이제이션 이런 것들은 GPU에서 엄청 하고, 그래서 GPU 코드는 되게 신기한 게 어떤 구조를 정해놓고 그 구조 안에서만 바꾸더라고요. 다 어떤 구조를 가정하고 하더라고요. 끝났긴 했습니다.
난 이거 아까 안 끄고 와가지고 뭔가
컨텍스트 오염됐을 수도 있겠군요.
저 그 계약서 관련해서만 그냥 한 3분만 공유하고